Welcome back, everyone. I'm Hannah. I'm a physiotherapist, and I'm here chatting with Rachel today about all things pregnancy and working out during your pregnancy. So this is Rachel.
And Walker. And Walker.
And Walker. We got Walker in the house. We got Cooper in the house.
Yeah, it's a fam ordeal today.
Everyone's here. We're all ready, napped and ready to go. So the point of today, we just wanted to chat a little bit more about being active during your pregnancy. And I have never had a baby, but we got little Walker here to give us what it's really like being a baby.
Yep.
And then, Rachel obviously going through pregnancy and working out. So we're going to chat a little bit about that.
Yeah, so maybe we should start, like you said, you've never had a baby. But why you decided to write a pregnancy program and like why that would be beneficial to people.
Yeah, and yes, I've never had a baby, but I've had so many clients, obviously, who have had kids, and just such a common issue is that pregnancy is just something that happens that wasn't really talked about for so long in lots of different aspects of it, as you know. And one of those aspects that always kept coming up was either someone's doctor said that they like shouldn't keep doing things, or you get pregnant and all of a sudden you feel like, oh, this might hurt the baby, or this might, like, it's not going to be healthy for the baby, or something like that. But we know how beneficial exercise is for so many different reasons. And so I think that was just a huge gap that I had been noticing and just talking to people about. And so that kind of spurred on what can I provide that might kind of help that gap be filled. And some of my old colleagues that I had worked with before, we had a pelvic floor physio, her name's Hillary, and so I chatted with her about this, just about that idea, and she put together like the pelvic floor component, which is again really important, and the only thing that people really talk about is like doing Kegels, and that's like the end of it essentially, but there's a little bit more to it. And then I was just going to create a bit of like a workout program that targets a little bit more of like the movements and the areas that get tight for people who are pregnant and then going to have a baby. The words that I had always used initially were that you can't prepare for that, which technically you can't, as you will probably tell me, but you can in certain aspects. Just
Walker contributing to the conversation.
Yeah, right, Walker? Because you're heavy.
Yeah, you're a big boy.
Yeah, exactly. And so that was my goal, was filling that gap. So maybe you can, give it a little bit more context to those sides of things, because again, I haven't been through it, so I'm just kind of talking based off of what other people have told me.
Yeah, and I think people, like you said, people don't really talk about the exercise part of being pregnant. And it's one of those things where you don't really think about it, obviously, unless you're like in the field. You don't think about it until you're pregnant, and you're just like, oh, you're like, well, like now what? Can I exercise? Can I not exercise? And it depends who you talk to. Like, depends what kind of doctor you have, depends what kind of like people around you that you have, and how active you were before. Which, I mean, I'm sure you can attest to that. Even if you weren't super active before, you should stay active during pregnancy. But I was really active before pregnancy, and so I was like, how am I going to keep this up? And really, for me, what it was just listening. I don't want to sound cliche, but like listening to my body. What's up? What do you want to say? Mom? You say, Mom? You want to look at yourself while we talk? Yeah. This is his favorite activity. And so I just kept going until things got harder. Like if you just couldn't do the movement because like your stomach's in the way or whatever. But having the energy and getting a good sleep, because and it's so funny because it's really, being pregnant is just like an extra thing. And I had a really easy pregnancy. I'll just put that out there as an easy pregnancy. I felt fine. I wasn't sick. I had swollen feet by the end, but otherwise it was easy for me to continue exercising because I had no other things happening. So that's a doctored thing for you to know
and
about.
Maybe I'll just caveat that with, there are medical conditions, like you do want to get clearance from your doctor, and then you can see a pelvic floor physiotherapist as well who can like help clear.
Yes.
But there are medical conditions that do prevent you from doing certain exercises. So yes, that is good to point out as well.
But I didn't have any of that, and so I was able to just work out as normal. And And I didn't follow a program.
Not everyone needs a program.
But I did look at this program just to like see what I was doing and if that was like aligned with what a professional would suggest for someone who is pregnant. But I just kept doing what I normally did because that's what my body was used to, and then just did it as long and as hard as I could based on how I felt about it. But one of the things that doctors did say when like you ask them about it is like, don't take up a new activity while you're pregnant. Like now is not the time to like get into like, I don't even know, like boxing or like some activity that like your body is not used to. Like just do what you normally do and your body is great. Like your body can do it because it's just,
it's
your body's
adapting at all
adaptable.
times. Exactly. Yeah. And I think that that's something that again, like and just like women and females in general, like we don't totally appreciate that side of things. And so I think that comes back to a little bit of the gap that we're filling, is that it's like you can keep working out while you're pregnant. Like your body is adapting the whole time.
And you almost feel guilty. It was a weird feeling because people would look at you and they're like, can you work out? And you're like, should I be working out? And you're like, I feel fine. Yeah. And everything is fine. And like, but it's just a weird society, like, because nobody talks about it and there's weird pressure to like not work out because you feel like you're supposed to be so delicate.
Yes.
But then, have you been watching Tia Claire Toomey do the CrossFit Opens? And she's like 8 months pregnant and like snatching full weight. And I was like, oh.
Just living. Exactly.
I was like, you can do it.
Yeah, you can do it. Exactly. And like, that is the example of like, obviously she's like fittest woman in the world times like 6 or 7 now. So that is her history of training. And that's kind of the point of like the program, or you even kind of intuitively knowing what your body was going to be able to handle, as well as like having like two things. Having a program is good if you just need like accountability and basically just like, you don't want to think about it because it's like you're already doing a million other things, trying to grow a human at the same time. So having a program and just being like, this is what I'm doing today, knowing that it's like, it was developed by like, we have the pelvic floor physio and then myself just kind of putting it together, trying to target again, like upper back, arms, still getting legs, like doing all of those things as you're moving forward.
Wow.
Yeah, hi. Preparing for little guys like you. Yeah. And then including things like you said that you've already been doing. So if you're used to lifting a barbell and that sort of things, like go ahead and lift a barbell. Like that's fine. If you're used to running, like you can keep running. Yeah. I think that again, it's like, we don't want that to be an extra barrier or limitation to exercising and staying healthy in that side of things.
When I think of program, then if you did want a program or have some outside help, like I was a pretty like well-rounded, I was going to say, I don't know if athlete's the word, but like,
the word.
Yeah, athlete. I worked out. I did lots of things. Like I did spin and I lifted weights and I did yoga. Like I did all, like I didn't just run or I didn't just do one exercise, because I feel like with pregnancy, that is where like a professional could help you, that like, you do need that upper body strength and you do need the like pelvic floor strength. And if you're not lifting weights and you're just running, or you're like, you need your body to be strong in all aspects when you're obviously going to have a baby and like give birth and stuff. So I think that's where it's worth talking to someone to just make sure that like, you're going to be as prepared as possible. Yeah. And then you give birth to like a 9-pound baby.
Yeah. 90th percentile.
You need to be able to like get him out first of all, but then you have to be able to carry him. I was like, I just have like a 25-pound weight vest all the time now. So
exactly. And I think that was the part of it where I kept kind of thinking like, oh no, you can't prepare for this. You can't prepare for this. But like, you can prepare for having an extra load that you got to carry around at all times.
Exactly. And the recovery is easier. Just like anything, just like any injury or anything. Yeah. Having your body be strong or as healthy as possible will help with your recovery, because like you have a baby once you give birth, and so you have to be able, and like for people that have C-sections or like birth traumas, like it's a little bit different, but you have to be able to live your life and be able to lift this baby and do things with one arm, so your left bicep better be strong.
It better be ready to go. Exactly.
Yeah, because your back even, and like breastfeeding and everything, like your body is sore, and like it is new muscles and it's all of that, and being active and healthy before you give birth as long as you possibly can, because even like 2 months of not working out, that's a long time. Yeah. Especially with all that like extra weight. And so it's important to keep staying active through the whole pregnancy as much as you can.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And like the program, you gotta stay active. Yeah. Yeah.
Tell us.
How active, Walker? What do you think?
What do you think? Say thanks to him for being active.
Yeah. And that's kind of where we were looking to like target some parts of the program too. Is like, personally, I don't just do bicep curls at the gym. But again, you're literally lifting and like you're doing basically like an isometric bicep hold when you're just holding him in your arms for however long you need to be doing that.
Right.
And so you can prepare for those types of things. And so yeah, giving, like, again, whether it's like intuitively you're able to kind of figure that out on your own, you maybe have like one appointment with like either your pelvic floor or like a regular physio, just to kind of even give you guidance.
Totally.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then if you need something more, like, just know that those things are available. Might need to do a little bit digging, or again, like I have that program out here as well for that reason, to fill that gap, but that it is important and it is doable, I think. It's kind of like the
and
takeaway message.
Highly recommend. We'll get to the final. I have one more point about the pelvic floor, just because so I was healthy and strong and whatever, and then I went to Hillary's clinic, not to see Hillary because she was on mat leave, but someone else at the clinic, and it's your internal muscles that you actually can't yourself really know what's happening, and so you need that professional to then, and same thing, she was just like, I went twice before I gave birth, and so I probably could have went earlier, but I didn't, and so she just like does an exam, basically like any type of physio or like training program, just to see like where you at and what you have to do, and like not just Kegels, turns out there's other things to do, but you don't like, you even just need that like mind body connection with muscles that like you didn't even think about before, and then it's also your core, like it's not just like the birth canal muscles and your pelvic floor, it's like the ones that are connected like in your core, and like how to strengthen your like inner core, which is also something that's super important after you give birth, because like your core is what took like the most beating, and so also recommend doing pelvic floor physio on top of whatever like exercise you're doing as well.
Yes, exactly. That is super important. I think again that was something that had been coming up when I was speaking to patients, either just after they had their baby, or they're kind of just like in their pregnancy, and some people just again didn't know that pelvic floor physio existed, and that's the time you can go before you have your baby, or like you can go even if you're not pregnant. It like pelvic floor issues can happen regardless, and so those people can help fix those things and give you solutions for that or things to work on. So yes, pelvic floor physio, very important. During pregnancy, after pregnancy, any sort of leaking, like all of those things can be addressed. You don't need to keep living with it. I think that's also a very good point.
No, because you don't know what it's like to pee your pants until it's happening.
And
you're just like, oh, we don't want to do this forever.
No,
so.
And exactly, like again, there's like things that you can do which just like were not talked about, because women were just expected to have the baby and then do everything again. Like there was no, like nothing just happened.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's wild.
And it does, for people who are, either if you just had a baby or you're pregnant, your fitness does come back, and you don't pee your pants forever if you do the proper exercises, because you are in it and you're just like, oh my god, this is my life forever, like I'm never gonna be able to do anything, but it all comes back. He's 9 months and it's fine.
You're doing it.
The muscles are back. The cardio is back. I don't pee my pants very often.
And it is, like you said, it's kind of like rehabbing injuries in that sense too.
Exactly.
Like it takes time, and it takes a little bit of like persistence and then a little bit of that guidance, but like our bodies again can adapt.
But if you've never had an injury, so I've never had an injury ever before. We don't all tear our ACLs or have ankle surgery or something. I've never had to heal an injury, and so I mean, I had jaw surgery, which eventually we'll talk about. So I guess that was an injury healing, but it was just my face, and it wasn't my whole body. And so if you've never healed an injury, it takes longer than you think it's gonna take.
Yes, patience and consistency. Yes. And you had one more point?
No, that was it.
All right, I think Walker has a point.
What do you have to say? You say, I'm done sitting here.
Yeah. Gonna wrap it up?
Say, wrap it up.
Yeah. So if there's any more questions regarding exercise during your pregnancy, pelvic floor physio, you can reach out to me. I'll have all my information in the show notes. Email, Instagram, YouTube comments, and we'll wrap this one up, and then we'll be back next time maybe to chat about jaw surgery and other things. We'll go from there. Thanks for the chat, Rachel.
Yeah, sounds good. Say bye.
Yeah. Bye, Walker. All right. Thanks, guys.